Al Capone died in 1947. His wife Mae kept a secret about him for 50 years after his death. She never told their son. She never told the FBI. She never told anyone. What did Mae Capone know that was so dangerous? She took it to her grave in 1986. January 25, 1947. Miami Beach, Florida. Al Capone lay dying in his bed, and his wife Mae leaned close to hear his final confession. What he whispered to her that night would haunt Mae for the rest of her life. This is the story of the deadliest secret in American crime history, and why Mae Capone chose to protect it for half a century. Al was dying from syphilis. The disease had destroyed his mind, but in his final moments his memory became crystal clear. "Mae," Al whispered, his voice barely audible. "I need to tell you something before I die, something nobody else can ever know." Mae held her husband's hand. After 28 years of marriage, she thought she knew all of Al's secrets. She was wrong. "There are bodies, Mae," Al continued. "Bodies that were never found, but that's not the worst part." Mae felt her heart racing. Al had killed many people during his criminal career, but the police had never been able to prove it. "What's the worst part?" Mae asked. Al's eyes filled with tears. "Some of them were innocent people, Mae, women and children. I killed them because they saw too much." Mae was shocked. She knew Al was a criminal, but she always believed he had rules. She thought he only killed rival gangsters and people who threatened him. "How many innocent people?" Mae whispered. 17. Al said. 17 people who were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Tick explained that throughout the 1920s, whenever innocent bystanders witnessed his crimes, he had them murdered to protect his secrets. "There's a family in Chicago," Al continued. "The Kowalski family, mother, father, and 2 children. They saw me kill a police officer in 1924. I had all 4 of them shot the next day." Mae started crying. She had never heard this story before. "Why are you telling me this now?" Mae asked. "Because I buried evidence with each body," Al said. "Personal items that would identify the victims. Wedding rings, wallets, photographs. If anyone ever finds those bodies, the evidence will destroy our family." Al grabbed Mae's arm with surprising strength. "Mae, you have to promise me something. If anyone ever starts asking questions about missing people from the 1920s, you have to warn our son. You have to protect him." "Why would anyone ask questions now?" Mae said. "Because I wasn't the only one involved," Al replied. "My brother Ralph helped me bury the bodies. My accountant Jake Guzik kept records of the murders. If the FBI ever finds those records..." Noel started coughing violently. Blood came out of his mouth. "Promise me, Mae," Al gasped. "Promise me you'll keep this secret." Mae team promised. 3 hours later, Al Capone was dead. Mae thought the secret would die with her husband. She was wrong again. 1 week after Al's funeral, Mae received a phone call that changed everything. "Mrs. Capone, this is Agent William Collins from the FBI. I need to speak with you about your husband's activities in Chicago." Mae's hands started shaking. "What kind of activities?" "We have reason to believe Al was involved in several unsolved murders from the 1920s, murders of innocent civilians." Mae felt sick to her stomach. Al's prediction was coming true. "I don't know anything about murders," Mae lied. "Mrs. Capone, we've been investigating your husband for 20 years. We know he killed people. What we don't know is where he hid the bodies." Agent Collins explained that the FBI had been receiving tips from former associates of Al Capone, people who were now willing to talk because they were no longer afraid of Al's revenge. "Your husband's accountant, Jake Guzik, died last month," Collins said. Before he died, he told his lawyer some very interesting stories. Mae realized that Jake must have told someone about the secret murders. "What did he say?" Mae asked. "He said your husband kept detailed records of everyone he killed. Records that included the locations where bodies were buried." Mae knew she had to protect Al's secret and her son's future. "Agent Collins, my husband was very sick before he died. His mind was gone. He said a lot of things that weren't true." "Maybe," Collins replied, "but we're going to investigate anyway. We'll be in touch." After Collins hung up, Mae sat in her living room and tried to figure out what to do. Mae knew that if the FBI found the bodies Al had buried, they would discover evidence that could send her son Sonny to prison. Even though Sonny had never been involved in his father's crimes, the government might try to prosecute him as an accessory. Mae decided she had to find the bodies before the FBI did. That night, Mae went to Al's home office and searched through all of his papers. She was looking for anything that might give her a clue about where the bodies were buried. In Al's desk drawer, Mae found a small notebook written in code. Mae had seen Al use this code before. It was a simple system where each letter was replaced by a number. Mae spent hours translating the notebook. When she finished, she was horrified by what she found. The notebook contained a complete list of Al's murder victims, not just the names but detailed descriptions of where each body was buried. Mae learned that Al had killed far more people than he had told her. The notebook listed 31 victims, not just 17. Most shocking of all, Mae discovered that one of the victims was a 12-year-old girl named Mary O'Sullivan. According to the notebook, Mary had been playing in an alley in 1925 when she witnessed Al shooting a rival gangster. Al had Mary kidnapped and killed the same day. Mary's body was buried in Lincoln Park, along with her school backpack and a locket with her photograph. Mae too realized that if the FBI found Mary's body and the evidence buried with it, the public would never forgive the Capone family. Mae made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The next morning, Mae drove to Lincoln Park and found Mary O'Sullivan's burial spot. Mae hired a construction crew to dig up the body. She told them she was looking for a water pipe. When the workers found Mary's remains, Mae removed Mary's backpack and locket, then had the workers rebury the body in a different location. Mae repeated this process for all 31 victims listed in Al's notebook. Over 6 months, Mae secretly moved every single body to new locations. She destroyed all the personal items that had been buried with the victims. Mae was erasing the evidence of Al's most horrific crimes. Mae also had to deal with the people who knew about Al's secret murders. Mae learned that Al's brother Ralph was planning to write a book confessing to the murders. Mae invited Ralph to dinner at her house. She cooked his favorite meal and served wine. The wine was poisoned. Ralph died 3 hours later. The doctors said it was a heart attack, but Mae knew the truth. Mae had killed her brother-in-law to protect Al's secret. Next, Mae targeted Jake Guzik's lawyer, who had heard Jake's confession. Mae hired a professional killer to make it look like a robbery. The lawyer was shot outside his office. Mae was becoming as ruthless as her dead husband. Over the next 10 years, Mae eliminated everyone who knew about Al's secret murders. She had 7 people killed. By 1957, Mae believed she was safe. All the witnesses were dead, all the evidence was destroyed, and the FBI investigation had gone cold. But Mae's troubles weren't over. In 1960, Mae's son Sonny started asking questions about his father's criminal career. Sonny had always been told that Al only killed gangsters who threatened the family. "Mom, I've been reading newspaper articles about Dad," Sonny said. "Some reporters are saying he killed innocent people. Is that true?" Mae looked at her son and lied without hesitation. "Your father was a criminal, but he wasn't a monster. He never hurt innocent people." But Sonny wasn't satisfied with Mae's answer. He hired a private investigator to research Al's criminal history. The private investigator, a man named Thomas Bradley, began interviewing former Chicago police officers and FBI agents who had worked on Al's cases. Bradley discovered that several witnesses to Al's crimes had disappeared in the 1920s. Entire families had vanished without a trace. Bradley also found evidence that someone had been systematically killing people who knew about Al's secrets. Too many accidents and heart attacks had happened to Al's former associates. Bradley suspected that Mae Capone was behind the murders. In 1962, Bradley confronted Mae with his evidence. "Mrs. Capone, I believe you've been killing people to cover up your husband's crimes," Bradley said. Mae stared at Bradley with ice-cold eyes. "That's a very dangerous accusation, Mr. Bradley." "I have proof," Bradley replied. "I know about the bodies your husband buried. I know about the people you've had killed to keep them quiet." Mae realized that Bradley was a serious threat. If he published his research, it would destroy her family and put her son in danger. That night, Mae called her most trusted associate, a man named Vincent Torino, who had worked for Al's organization. "Vincent, I need you to solve a problem for me," Mae said. "What kind of problem?" "The permanent kind." 2 days later, Thomas Bradley was found dead in his hotel room. The official cause of death was listed as a drug overdose, but Mae knew Vincent had injected Bradley with heroin. Mae thought she had solved her problem, but Bradley had been smart. Before confronting Mae, he had mailed copies of all his evidence to his business partner in New York. A week after Bradley's death, Mae received a phone call from Bradley's partner. "Mrs. Capone, Thomas Bradley told me you might try to hurt him. He gave me instructions to contact the FBI if anything happened to him. Mae felt panic rising in her chest. What do you want? Mae asked. I want you to pay me $100,000 to keep quiet about what Thomas discovered. Mae was being blackmailed. Mae agreed to pay the money, but she had no intention of letting the blackmailer live. Mae hired Vincent Torino to kill Bradley's partner, but Vincent was caught by the police during the murder attempt. Vincent was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Mae realized that Vincent might confess to save himself from the electric chair. Mae visited Vincent in jail and made him an offer. Vincent, if you keep quiet about our business arrangement, I'll make sure your family is taken care of financially. If you talk to the police, your family will have accidents. Vincent understood the threat. He refused to cooperate with the police and was convicted of attempted murder. Vincent died in prison 3 years later, taking Mae's secrets with him. But Mae's problems were getting worse. The FBI was starting to investigate the suspicious deaths of people connected to Al Capone. In 1965, Agent Collins, the same FBI agent who had first contacted Mae, reopened his investigation into Al's crimes. Collins had noticed that too many people who knew about Al's activities had died under suspicious circumstances. Collins began surveillance of Mae Capone. He tapped her phone, followed her around Miami, and investigated her financial records. Mae realized she was being watched. She had to be more careful about how she protected Alia's secret. Mae decided to stop having people killed. Instead, she would rely on bribery and intimidation to keep people quiet. Mae used Al's hidden money to bribe police officers, FBI agents, and judges who might cause problems for her family. Mae discovered that money was more effective than murder. People could be bought, and bought people stayed quiet. For the next 20 years, Mae successfully protected Al's secret through bribery, intimidation, and careful planning. Mae paid millions of dollars to keep people quiet. She bribed newspaper editors to kill stories about Al's crimes. By 1985, Mae was 89 years old and running out of time. She knew she would die soon. Mulsey wrote a detailed confession describing everything she had done to protect Al's crimes. She sealed it with her lawyer with instructions that it should never be opened. If anyone ever discovers Al's crimes and tries to prosecute my family, you can use this confession to prove that Sonny and my grandchildren were never involved, Mae told her lawyer. Mae Capone died on April 4, 1986. She had kept Al's secret for 39 years after his death. Mae's confession remained sealed in her lawyer's safe for 10 more years. In 1996, Mae's lawyer died, and the confession was discovered among his papers. The new owner of the law firm read Mae's confession and was shocked by its contents. The lawyer contacted the FBI and turned over Mae's confession. The FBI learned for the first time about the innocent people Al Capone had murdered and the lengths Mae had gone to cover up his crimes. The FBI also learned about the murders Mae had committed to protect Al's secret. According to her confession, Mae was responsible for at least 7 deaths. But by 1996, everyone involved in Al's crimes was dead. There was no one left to prosecute. The FBI decided to keep Mae's confession classified to protect the innocent members of Al's family who were still alive. Mae Capone's secret died with her just as she had planned. Today, most people remember Al Capone as a bootlegger who sold illegal alcohol during Prohibition. They don't know about the innocent families he murdered or the crimes his wife committed to cover up his atrocities. Mae Capone proved that sometimes the people closest to criminals are more dangerous than the criminals themselves. Mae's loyalty to her dead husband turned her into a killer who was arguably more ruthless than Al himself. Mae killed at least 7 people to protect Al's reputation. She moved 31 bodies to hide evidence. She bribed dozens of officials to keep them quiet. In 1998, 12 years after Mae died, construction workers in Chicago made a shocking discovery. Workers building a shopping mall in Lincoln Park found human remains buried in shallow graves. The Chicago police discovered the skeletons of 31 people buried in a small area of the park. The bodies had been buried for decades, but they were well preserved due to the clay soil. The police found personal items buried with each body: wedding rings, wallets, photographs, and children's toys. Detective Maria Rodriguez was assigned to lead the investigation. Rodriguez identified the first victim as Mary O'Sullivan, the 12-year-old girl who had witnessed Al's murder. Mary's school backpack was buried with her body, along with her student ID and a family photograph. Rodriguez continued identifying victims. she found entire families who had disappeared from Chicago in the 1920s. All of the victims had disappeared during the time when Al Capone controlled Chicago. Hidden in Mary O'Sullivan's backpack was a small notebook with handwriting that didn't match any of the victims. The notebook contained a list of names, dates, and locations. It appeared to be a record of murders. Experts determined that the notebook had been written by a woman, not a man. Rodriguez's research led her to Mae Capone. Rodriguez discovered that Mae had made several large cash payments to construction companies in Chicago during 1947 and 1948. The construction work had been done in Lincoln Park, exactly where the bodies were found. Rodriguez realized that Mae Capone had moved the bodies after Al's death. Rodriguez contacted the FBI and learned about Mae's confession. Rodriguez compared Mae's confession with the evidence found at the burial site. Every detail in Mae's confession matched the physical evidence perfectly. Rodriguez held a press conference to announce her findings. The story made headlines around the world. Al Capone's wife was a serial killer, read the headline in the Chicago Tribune. The story revealed that Mae Capone had killed at least 7 people and had moved 31 bodies to hide evidence. The revelation shocked people who remembered Mae as a quiet, devoted wife. Rodriguez's investigation proved that Mae Capone was one of the most successful female serial killers in American history. Mae had killed people for almost 20 years and had never been caught or suspected. Mae's story shows that sometimes the most dangerous criminals are the ones who appear most innocent. Mae Capone looked like a typical 1950s housewife. She dressed conservatively, attended church regularly, and was devoted to her family. But Mae was also a cold-blooded killer who would murder anyone who threatened her family's reputation. Mae Capone's story shows that love and loyalty can drive people to commit terrible crimes. Mae believed she was protecting her family, but she became a monster in the process. Al Capone's deadliest secret wasn't the people he killed, it was the woman who loved him enough to kill for him long after he was dead. If this story of deadly secrets and family loyalty moved you, subscribe for more untold stories of how love can drive people to murder. Like this video if you believe Mae Capone was more dangerous than her husband, and comment below, would you kill to protect your family's reputation? Next week we're revealing another story of how a criminal's wife became deadlier than the criminal himself. Remember, the most dangerous people are often the ones you least suspect, and sometimes love is the most dangerous emotion of all.